How are you getting on, folks? Look at what can we say? Two non-runners, two winners. I don't actually think there was any that placed. I didn't see much racing today, but just give a quick run through the races. The first race, yeah, big massive rule four with the favourite last night being pulled out. Obviously made Duffel Code absolutely unfavourable to follow at 1-6, but at least it did the business anyway at 7-4. I don't know what. I suppose you could say return it would have got you, but look at the end of the day, it's a winner as well. And the Shanroal C, nice little drift out to 11-4, but it definitely made light work of the lightweight on his back, and it won as I was expecting it to do. So look at the end of the day, once we get a couple of results right, that's the main thing. And yeah, you have to think back at the week so far, how it's gone and how it's turned out. It's been a very, very profitable week, regardless what way it's gone. We've had the likes of 3-1, 11-2, 18-1, 7-4, 9-4 winners. Like, the winners have been coming thick and fast. Although, we probably made the staking plans a little bit of a hames really at the end of the day, because the day I wasn't confident, I ended up nearly landing a clean sweep, and if only I'd have bet, I suppose, a little bit bigger that day, we might have come out with even more profit. But look, that point is like it's pointless regardless what way you think of it, and the only way going forward is to focus on the task in hand. And Tipperary definitely tomorrow looks to be a very, very nice card. First of all, the 1 o'clock race, we're going to go with the nap of the day. We're not going to hold back on this one. We're going to go with She Wears It Well at 7-4. If you've been following the Peaky blogger for quite some time, you'd have read what I've written so far with potential hurdlers to follow. This one here, She Wears It Well, has definitely been one of the top of the list. I really think that this mare is going to go a long, long way in the national hunt scene. Obviously, look at She Wears It Well, and Princess Zoe look to have a fairly tough battle should the two of them go that way in March in the Mayor's Novice Hurdle. It looks to be it's going to be one of the races of the season, really, if that plans out. But definitely She Wears It Well. It's coming up in Group 1 company here now, and yeah, I'd be delighted to see it go on and win and do the business here, because in fairness to the likes of James Fenton and the people behind the scenes, they definitely deserve some serious amount of success with this mare. She Wears It Well. She looks to be very much the one to beat. She's undefeated really at the end of the day, and you have to seriously consider her for, I suppose, a future prospect and definitely a potential rising star. Um, I definitely think She Wears As Well is going to wear it very well tomorrow, and 7-4 is a lovely, lovely price. Uh, I want to take this opportunity as well just to wish the likes of James Fenton, Paul Town, and Willie Mullins, whoever is listening to this, really at the end of the day, that's involved in this mare, the very best of luck. And as long as she comes home safe at the end of the day, that's the most important thing when being involved in ownership of, I suppose, different horses and mares and everything else like that. The most important thing is they come home safe and sound and ready to go for the next run. 135, another Mullins horse here. Samurai at 8-11. I'm not going to spend too much time on this one here, really. This is by far the standout horse of the race. It's going to love any sort of rain that falls. Obviously, there's a yellow rainfall warning for, I think, most of the country here now tomorrow, or between tonight and tomorrow. So it definitely looks to be playing into Sunrise cards. Um, like I said, the class horse in the race in any sort of ground really at the end of the day. But once that ground starts going soft, that's when you see this Samurai going on to bigger and better things. 8 to 11, it looks. I know it's an odds on, it's an odds on horse. But it looks to be a very big price. I can honestly see if this ground softens up anymore, it's definitely going to 8 to 15, 1 to 2, maybe even 4 to 9, could even touch maybe 1 to 3. Who knows? But it definitely looks to be a nice little, I suppose, horse for a nice little double here. Obviously, if you want to double it up with She Wears It Well, it could make for a nice little double for the Mullins clan tomorrow. 208. This is where things start to get interesting. I've never seen a time for a race like this before in Ireland, but 208 will possibly, I suppose, St. Stephen's Day. 208, we're going to go try again at 5 to 1. This is going to be an each way shout here now. Regardless what way the market or the fractions, I suppose you could say, for each way price, and you're definitely looking at an each way price here at the present time. 5 to 1, most bookies will either give a quarter or a fifth of the odds. So if you get a fifth of the odds, worst case scenario, once it places, you get your money back, and if it's a quarter of the odds, you make some small sort of profit. But definitely try again at 5 to 1. It runs well fresh. It seems to like when the ground softens a little bit in terms of winning. It's run well fresh before. Um, I would seriously consider this horse for a very much, I suppose, a bit of a shock here now, considering we haven't seen this horse since last November. But I really don't think it's going to stop it. Paul Flynn or Pat Flynn, I don't know. I don't know. It's one of the Flynns that's training anyway. Regardless who it is, they're in form. They've had some nice winners over the past couple of weeks, and yeah, I would be very much expecting to see this try again in the top form now tomorrow, and it should run a fairly decent race, but you have to, I suppose, make an exception for the layoff that's faced and allow for, I suppose, a potential improver that has the race fitness on hand. The 238, we're going to go at where are you now at 6 to 1 each way. Like I said, look at it's another one that's sort of an improving sort for the Roger Sweeney yard. Obviously, Roger, his winners seem to come few and far between, but when he has a nice horse, he isn't afraid to I suppose shy about it. He had a nice little winner in his stall with this one. That went up £6. Um, but really, at the end of the day, it's an improving sort. If it's improving any way, shape, or form, for its decisive victory, it shouldn't really hinder the horse too much. If I'm not mistaken, it seems to do fairly well on softish ground. So it should be well capable of running a very good race. It's one of the fittest horses of the race. 6 to 1 seems to be a fairly crazy price. And I definitely think if you're having a bet, and each way is a very, very safe place to go with this one. And it should run a very, very solid race for you all tomorrow. 308, we're going to go with the Reaping Race at 9 to 2. Really and truly, look at this horse is in serious form. It's a course and distance winner on soft ground, so that's a big plus, especially going around Tipperary. You need a horse that likes the track and likes the ground, and it seems to be all falling into place for the Reaping Race tomorrow. Really and truly, it's faced relatively similar company before, and it's proven to be very much too good for them. It ran a very decent race in the stall in, I suppose, an improving in race more so than anything else. Like the quality of the field was far greater than what it faced in Tipperary, but it seems to be back down again tomorrow. It seems to be facing slightly worse opposition than it did in Listowel. That was a very, very good race in Listowel that day, and I honestly think that this horse is going to run a very big race. 9-2 for a course and distance winner in soft ground. It definitely looks to be very much big in my eyes. Really, at the end of the day, I was half expecting this horse to be favoured. Really, at the end of the day, but look at I'm not making up the prices. 9-2. It's there for everyone to take. I think it's a great price, and I wouldn't be shy to say that I'm on it 9-2. The next best of the day now, 338. We're going to go. I suppose take a little bit of chance here now with Galvin, currently priced around 5-4. Really and truly, this race seems to be split between himself and Size and Potsy. Size and Potsy obviously seems to be a little bit better in the ground, but at the same time, I still think this Size and Potsy is a little bit overrated. I've seen it run a few times before. It's just not really set my interest alight in terms of a real top quality horse. Galvin, on the other hand, it definitely looks to be an absolute brute. At the end of the day, look at we have to say what we see, and Galvin has been very solid. He hasn't really beaten much in terms of quality, but the fact that he was going off favourite for the Galway Plate, one of the biggest races in the Irish racing calendar, it speaks leaps and bounds here. Really, this horse shouldn't be beaten now tomorrow. Obviously, look at ground wise, it may hinder him a little bit, but the fact that he was pulled out for the Galway Plate in similar conditions, I would have my doubts, but if he stays in, he will very much be a very difficult horse to beat. And 5-4, look at 5-4 and 7-4 nap. If you're going to be putting on a double or a treble with San Rai, I definitely think that'd be a very safe bet. It looks to be a very easy way of going about it, making money. But if you're going to be having a bet, look at take take a chance, but don't risk too much money. At the end of the day, a treble is a very hard bet to land, but there are three quality horses, and they're all fairly nice prices. I think you could get a fairly nice payout. I don't know what the payout is per euro, but yeah, you could get a fairly nice payout for that treble tomorrow. Now the 408, we're going to go with Bitfew Colin at 4-1. Look, at depending where you are, you could be trembling in on an each way market here with this one. Obviously, if the bookies are paying a quarter the odds, worst case scenario, you're going to get your money back anyway, regardless. But yeah, it's an interesting sort. Like it's going up £7, but that £7 is being counteracted with this £7 claimer on his back. It was a very impressive winner in this stall last not last week, but the week before. It absolutely bolted up. I couldn't believe it, quite honestly. And James O'Sullivan isn't a bad jockey in the saddle at the end of the day. 4-1. It looks to be a fairly nice price. The horse is well and truly in form. Seems to be on the upgrade, but we don't really know. I said the same about Presenting Dylan the other day, and I was left with a boot up the arse, for want of a better word. But yeah, 4-1. It definitely looks. You're worth taking a chance, and 4-1 is a fairly nice price if he happens to win at a tenor stake. You're going to get 50 back. So, like, you have to look at it that way as well. It's a nice opportunity here, and 4-1 looks to be a fairly nice price. 443, last race of the day. We're going to go with Feathered Gold at 4-1. Another 4-1 shot here with this one. It looks to be. It's very much an open race. I hate bumpers like this, really. At the end of the day, you either have a clear cut favourite or you don't. But the way it's looking, like, there's about 3 or 4 or 5 of these horses that I could argue favouritism. Like, Feathered Gold, though, I was very much interested in this one. It looked to be a fairly well bred sort. It's run fairly well in Punchestown. I don't know when it ran, but it ran fairly lately. And it ran a fairly good race as well that day. It's rated 100. It has a little bit to find in terms of matching the favourite here, but it could be on the improvement really at the end of the day. But look, at like them all, they all could find improvement. Like, so we don't know who's going to win this race. Um, but I definitely think Feathered Gold is definitely one of the more likelier ones. And 4-1, look, it's a nice price. I would recommend, if you can find a bookmakers that are going to offer a quarter the odds, just stick it on each way, because look, at you're going to it's a messy race, and if you're going to be relying on that one, you may as well forget about it, like, because there could be anything that'll come out of this race. But I'm going to leave it there anyway. Hopefully, with the help of God, tomorrow we're going to do a fairly decent job, and we're going to get a few nice winners. I'm expecting to get, look, at if we're lucky enough, if we can get 4 winners, if we can get 50% return, I will be delighted. I will be absolutely over the moon. That sets us up nicely for next week, and then just carry on the progression and carry on the winning streak. But I'm going to leave it there. Make sure to keep liking, sharing, subscribing. I want to also give a quick plug to the world of sport. There's a new guy on there called Harp. He does writing for the likes of the lower league. Well, I say the lower league, the likes of the championships and the League Ones and League Twos, over in England for the football. Uh, I had a read of his article there. I was very much surprised of how seriously talented this lad is. He absolutely called the Shrewsbury match to a T. He said there was 80% chance or something along them lines of both teams to score, 20% chance of, I think it was the Shrewsbury goalkeeper conceding, something along them lines, but he got the correct score, both teams to score, and over 1.5 goals, all clean cut. That is seriously impressive. Like, to be quite honest with you, I couldn't even pick my nose in terms of picking winners for football, but I try and stick to the horses itself. But I might even be tempted to take a chance on his next article, maybe having a couple of no bets. But look, at I'm going to leave the website there. It's free. It's free subscription. People are, I suppose, encouraged to maybe donate to try and keep the site up and running and free for all, and just, I suppose, keep people like Harp and myself in business and doing what we love doing, and I suppose keeping us picking winners really at the end of the day. That's what we're here for, and that's what we're here to do. Like, my motto always is to put in the hard work so you don't have to, and that's what I feel I have done so far. Please get in contact with me if I haven't done so to your satisfaction. I will happily try and improve as best I can if I'm not up to your standards. But I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to leave a link to the World of Sport website below. Please make sure to keep liking, sharing, subscribing. We want to try and make a bit of a push now for the 1,000 subscribers. Once we can do that, we can start trying to get this channel monetized, and once that happens, then we'll be looking into maybe buying a professional camera, going to different training yards, talking to different trainers, getting, I suppose, people involved and people out there in front of people that don't know what they look like, but they see their horses running every day, and they just don't know what the trainers or the jockeys, or they don't know what anyone looks like at the end of the day. But look, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to stop rambling on now. We're 20 minutes in now. I'm sure you're all sick of listening to me, but yeah, look, best of luck tomorrow if you're going to have a bet.